Welcome to PROSTEP's digital thread platform for Siemens Teamcenter. My name is Brian Schouten, Director of Technical Presales at PROSTEP Inc. And today we're going to walk through PROSTEP's digital thread platform on how to integrate Siemens Teamcenter with a variety of other product lifecycle management, ALM, ERP, and other enterprise tools that you use. PROSTEP has been around for over 30 years. We're an interoperability company specializing in engineering and manufacturing data exchange. So you see our ownership at the bottom. We're about 10% owned by all these companies, as well as about 15% owned by the company in the lower left, the PROSTEP IVIP Association. And they're a nonprofit standards body and our sister company that does things like Step 242 standardization, REC-IF, best practices for collaboration in engineering and data exchange as well. So our stated goal with the digital thread platform and as digital thread experts is to connect people, processes, and systems. So bringing data to the people in the systems that they want to use and not force them to be in a single monolithic platform, but use the tool that they're most comfortable with and they can be the most efficient in. So to that effect, our expertise is in integration to bring data to those different tools. That could be through direct integration, process implementations, collaboration, like moving data over corporate borders and secure data exchange, traceability, and products like our OpenCLM that provide traceable digital thread. Migration as a big part of that, like platforming data into Teamcenter so that you can coordinate different data and digital thread there, or other custom PLM software. And we do that throughout a large variety of different customers, like our ownership, a lot of automotive customers, but also consumer goods, aerospace and defense, which is our primary market in North America. Electronics, manufacturing, marine, medical, and other types of engineering. And with this neutrality that we have in order to provide that interoperability, we have a wide variety of different partnerships. So that includes Siemens and Teamcenter, but also like SAP, Dassault Systems, PTC, IBM, ANSYS, others, right, within the engineering and manufacturing ecosystems in order to provide that interoperability. So with these technology partnerships, that enables us to use and license their APIs for our connectors, and then do support for those over time. So it's not like a one-off, one version that we're integrating to. We keep these connectors up to date in order to enable the integration and the maintenance and sustainability of that. So as a general strategy, PROSTEP for interoperability wants to maintain that authoritative source of truth. So where that data is authored and the repository of that data, where it might be statused or versioned or controlled in some way, should remain so that when data is updated, then we can handle that through processes in order to update other systems, right? And there's 4 core strategies that we take in order to maintain that authoritative source of truth and be able to use that data throughout your product lifecycle through a bunch of other systems or other places where the data is needed. First is integration, and this is probably 70% of the cases that we have where we're replicating data from one system into another. And this is, a strategy that is necessary in many cases. Like if you need binary data, like CAD files, so you can open them up in the other system, or you want to be able to use the module within the system pretty efficiently. Then sometimes you need that replication of data. There is sometimes also data loss, though, because not all the map data fits, or you have to add attributes and things like that. So it's not always a 100% strategy, but it is efficient and works well in most cases because it's supported in those modules and the data that's moving forward. Second is collaboration. So this is moving data between partners, customers, suppliers, between different PLMs, or maybe into a neutral PLM. And doing this, with IP filtering, doing large volumes of transactions, like trying to take a whole platform and synchronizing that overnight and doing processes like that. The third is traceability, and this is using a strategy of linked data, either with OpenPDM connectors or maybe with a neutral standard like OSLC, and then provide traceability across the digital thread, maybe from OpenCLM as a kind of a traceable hub, or between different systems. Now, this has the advantage that it's a more lightweight and quicker to implement solution, but it might have a disadvantage where just that link that you're creating and storing has to, maybe draw data in, so there might be a performance disadvantage, or maybe doesn't enable the module that you're using within the system to get the right kind of data without deeper type of integration, like a replication strategy. And then the fourth, migration, includes maybe a consolidated data and moving data from an old system to a new one in order to accomplish what we call platforming. So moving data from other PLMs into Teamcenter, or doing consolidation of that type in order to get all your data in one place so that it can be traceable within that system, and then the authors of data can use that system as well. So the PROSTEP digital thread platform integrates to that repository level. So we try to stay away from doing integrations through client and user actions. We want to automate that process behind the scenes, just have data naturally flow once it hits a certain milestone like a release, or if we know that it automatically, once it gets checked in, needs to be moved to another system, then automate those processes. But it starts with connectors to go to those behind the scenes systems, right? So you see at the bottom level those requirements and software and PLM, testing, simulation, quality, other systems that might be within there, to connect directly to those systems and the data that is status and the authoritative source of truth within those. And then on top of that, we've got a layer of different services that promote integration, collaboration, traceability, and migration. So that might be a workflow orchestration. We've got a batch process, conversion tool. We also have a BPMN process engine in order to do these types of processes behind the scenes and contain the business logic for that. We've got mapping, analysis, secure file transfer, processing, monitoring, and other services in order to accomplish the types of data integration and digital thread needs that your organization has. PROSTEP's overall integrated digital thread platform concept really has kind of core tenets of providing a portal with our OpenCLM to provide traceability to the different connectors within different divisions or domains or programs. It has very standardized local processing and distributed services. So we want to bring connectors to the systems, and then from there, we can then federate the data into the OpenPDM transactions or OpenCLM traceability or GlobalX collaboration and secure file transfer. It's entirely transactional, so we're not going to disrupt users and say, no, you need to use this new system. Here's a new portal. Here's a new authoring tool. We want to bring the data to the tool that you're using, like Teamcenter. We don't want to have an impact to those processes and practices and have an entirely value-added solution. And it's very flexible. It's a standards-based integration. It's called open because we want to enable you to use this as well, and it's very sustainable and maintainable because of its modular architecture. You can plug and play depending on updates for different connectors or different systems that you might be introducing. So our digital thread platform has a wide variety of support for different connectors, and over time we've supported different systems, and as they become deprecated, we've also deprecated some of those connectors based on customer demand. But you see, kind of some of that lineage with our 3D Experience connectors and Teamcenter connectors. So with Teamcenter going back to Iman and supporting, the initial Teamcenter integration, as well as then Teamcenter Engineering, Teamcenter Unified Architecture, and now modern cloud instances of Teamcenter, Teamcenter X. But that's also, the case for Matrix 1 and OVA v6, 3DX, and now with public cloud and EIF cloud support for 3D Experience. And there's other lineage for other products as well, like the Windchill and SAP and other types of connectors. So we have a wide variety of support for PLM integration, you see on the bottom. ALM support, like for Codebeamer, Jira, Polarian, in Teamwork Cloud, and other Cameo integrations, as well as other ALM systems integrations. ERP, data sources, other marine, marine CAD. So we've got an OpenPDM ship that supports that type of BIM information, as well as standard services, right? Like STEP Toolkit, we are PROSTEP, so handling transformation of metadata and other packaging of data for neutral data exchange. An OSLC provider that can enable any of these connectors to become OSLC enabled, and standard web services that can integrate these different systems. Our digital enterprise connectors have a standard template, and that is based on Spring right now and is a microservices type of architecture that can also be installed on workstations and other things depending on what your platform looks like. But that enables the distribution and maintainability and sustainability of these connectors or other services within that platform. They're very granular, and so they can look at specific objects and relationship structures. And it's not just one query in order to get a blob of data, but you can really explode the data that you're looking for and find that, and make sure that you can read and write that data on a granular level. We respect the APIs, which means that going through the APIs, we've got the authentication mechanisms to make sure that you're only getting the data that you should be able to see, as well as the system customization, right? So if you can make changes in the BMIDE and Teamcenter, we want to respect those changes and be able to query for soft types and attributes and other things that you're customizing within your system, and be able to read and write that data. I'll give you a short demo of our digital thread connectors. We can start within the registry service or discovery service, where we've got different connectors for different systems registered, or process engine, other processes are registered here as well. So we can jump into the Teamcenter connector. You can do configuration of this connector, like define where it's connected to, mapping of the data within the system. Different queries that you can make, like through the search criteria of Teamcenter, and custom searches that you might want to define there, as well as do a predefined export or import configuration where you can just say, I want to export a structure of item revision. Go ahead and walk down the BOM views and give you the whole structure in one query if you'd like to. You can also test out the different queries within the system. So we've got a query client where you can go ahead and take a look within the system for data there. So it'll log in and in live query the data, and then you can see within a Teamcenter the object and relationship structure that we are exporting to. So this is kind of our OpenPDM BIBO interface, so basic interface for business objects, that enables you to make a neutral structure from the data within the system. So you see the specification relationships the BVR relationships, and walking down that. We can also take a look at other connectors. So in this case, we've got a Windchill connector. You can do the same type of configuration with Windchill parts and changes and design documents and export and import of that data. So looking at the query client for this, we can query for something similar to an item revision, which is a WT part in Windchill. And then you can see the structure within OpenPDM of what that BOM looks like as well. Now, it's got a Windchill flavor for it, but it's still in a business object and relationship model. And once you get the data within this format, it makes it easy to consume through any of those neutral services that we have within the digital thread platform. It makes it simple to map from business object to business object, or just work on the data in general. We also can show some process engine and mapping definition here. So in our OpenPDM process cockpit here, powered by Camunda, this is where we deploy logic in a BPMN format so that you can then support the processes that you might have. This is also where administrators can come in if there's an error and then go ahead and see that there's an issue, take a look at what the logs are or what might need to be changed. In this case, the connector service is down, so you can restart it from there. And then move on, if you're an administrator and there's an issue with the system. But you can also take a look at every instance of every process that was run, right? So in the case where we've got a Windchill to Teamcenter synchronization, it's going through kind of a normal process logic. And each of these blocks has an export, mapping, or an import process. And then, excuse me, you can see the table definitions for that. A graph of the data, like maybe before it was mapped and after it was mapped, or what the results of the import was, and things like that. And then every template for the connectors and all the services is bundled with the RESTful API Swagger documentation. So all the things that we can do within OpenPDM, we let you do, right? And then you can bundle this and create integration services if you'd like to, and use that same standardized data model throughout any of the integrated systems that you have. So it makes it very easy to work with. And you don't need to learn, JAMA integration or 3DX integration or Windchill integration. It's all kind of working together with just OpenPDM integration. So let's talk through a little bit of planning on how to be successful with integration in Teamcenter. First, we want to start with requirements. So understand the preconditions before your integration, what triggers it, for automatic or UI type, process integration. So that could be like a release of data. And then what's the post conditions? What happens after the integration is successful? Really, how is that data imported or linked? And then, what can you do with that data in the future, and understand all those test cases that go along with that. So during implementation, make sure you've got a really defined granular mapping of attributes as well as the objects and relationships. Any transformation requirement, like generating things like JTs for Teamcenter, and defining import strategy. So it's not just always the same import. Sometimes you might need to update just the existing revision. You might need to revise data. If you're removing something or changing like a bill of materials, maybe then, you have to go back to the structure and not remove it, but obsolete it, or create a change as well with the, the process, right? So there's different mechanics of the system that you need to be able to validate as part of integration. And then finally, make sure you document those test cases, and you've got for every import strategy, as well as all the attributes and mapping data, validation of that, and make sure the data works well within the module that you're moving forward with. So we don't want to be in a case where you're importing data, but then the data is not functioning for the processes that you want to support. Remember that PROSTEP's here to help. So if you've got an integration or a migration or a digital thread project that you're looking at, give us a call. We can help out with strategy, kind of give you what our best practice and guidance would be. And thanks for attending and listening to our presentation. We hope to hear from you.